Hello and welcome to another Spoilercast for My Little Pony Season 5, Episode 14, Canterlot Boutique, done by the Cutie Art Crusaders. My name is Flutterguy317, and today I am joined by Rainbow Plasma.
Hello.
And Burned.
Hi.
And oh my gosh, guys, we're back for Spoilercasts.
Boutique is not an easy word to say, so...
No, yeah, I kind of stumbled on that.
Canterlot Boutique is not... They're weird words. They're both really weird words.
Mm-hmm.
Just mashed together.
Canterlot Boutique.
Boutique?
Boutique, yes.
Boutique.
Boutiquois, actually.
Mm.
It was a fun episode.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. We got to see Rarity sewing again, and she had a song,
Yeah.
and it's been like since Season 1 that we've had that kind of thing happen.
Right?
Alright, so here's the deal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was meh on the song.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it. Like, it's no Art of the Dress,
Well,
I'll give you that.
What's funny is, like, I totally have the opposite opinion. Like, I was, like, meh on most of the episode for me, but then I started enjoying it at the song. But it was also because I was half asleep.
Yeah.
I just felt like there, you know, I don't think like there are some songs you can look at in the world and be like, that's a bad song. It's badly produced and all this different stuff. I don't think that's the case at all. It was just like the way, like, it's not the type of song that I enjoy listening to in an MLP episode. I enjoy the more heavily produced, like, traditional song format kind of songs, whereas this one was more of a kind of like a theater play kind of musical kind of song.
What's your example? Like, what's other, like, MLP song? Like, Winter Wrap-Up, or...
Well, even Art of the Dressed had some interludes with, you know, regular talking, but it was for the most part a self-contained song. You know, when they went to Canterlot, Rarity sang a song about being in Canterlot that again was pretty self-contained, had a chorus, all that kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like this one was more weaved in with the story, and there was interludes of like up to a minute where the story would happen and then it would jump back into the song, you know, for like a reprise.
It definitely wasn't something I could like just take out of the episode and put on my iPod.
Exactly, and like that's it's a different technique. I don't really know the exact definition. I'm sure there's an actual word for it, but you see it a lot in like musicals, and you see it a lot in plays.
Snippety snapped up song. Something like that.
Yeah, it's a snippy snap.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not like I'm not going to look at the song and be like, this was badly made or whatever, but like it's just not the kind of song. Like they've experimented a bit with these kinds of songs, and it's just not something that I'm tremendous. I liked Art of the Dress better because I feel like that was more of a, like you said, you could cut it out, put it on your iPod.
It's like the OG song, man. It's like Season 1, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, it's like that and Winter Wrap-Up are like OG.
Yeah. Winter Wrap-Up's the first, like, big, real, like, fully produced song with choruses, and, like, it's like they put a song in the middle of the episode, right? So, yeah.
Plus, like, Art of the Dress, I feel like, well, and Becoming Popular are probably two of the songs that you could easily listen to the most.
Yeah. I will say, like, I can totally see why people might really enjoy the song and like the different style. It just wasn't my speed.
Like how I looked at it, like one, like I liked like the music, you know, and then like her voice was really nice in the singing, and then I enjoy how it fit into the episode, and like kind of progressed it. Like it wasn't like a standalone song, but it was like as you're watching the episode, like here fits in now like a small musical number or something, like it would be in like in a play or something. And so like it did help me take me like out of my head a little bit and put it like in more of a Disney mode, and so I did enjoy like listening to that in the beginning, and I really liked the scene with like the window like shining on the jewels and like hitting the dress. I thought that was just like a really pretty visual along with the music.
Yeah, very visually kind of appealing.
Yeah,
that was really cool. I like songs in MLP because it's a great way to speed through a lot of time and progress the story very quickly without it feeling rushed. And you know, regardless of the style of the song, you know, both in the Art of the Dress and in this episode, it did that really effectively, and I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, like cartoons that actually like really utilize music, I feel like are some of the best. There's some of my favorite moments in them too. Like everyone always like talks about like Adventure Time too, and like some of the silly songs in there. And like I wouldn't call those amazingly produced songs. They literally, it's almost as a joke, record the voice actor trying to sing something and then like auto tune it as like a joke. But people still like end up loving it and like they're cute little songs.
There's like a psychological aspect to how music connects us all, and how there is a very fundamental inherent part of us as human beings that finds connection through music and
or makes us enjoy cartoons more.
Yeah. And so like it's a connecting point for everybody. Everybody appreciates music in their own way. There are very, very, very few people in the world who will not appreciate at least some part of music, even if it's not their entire life. You know, it's a connecting force, and so I'm glad to see it in shows as well, because I think it's a great way to connect everybody together.
Friendship.
Yeah, I mean, like like in Adventure Time or like even Steven Universe or whatever, it kind of like lightens it up a bit when they have a song. Like I feel like it could go either way. Like it could be like kind of more dark and like deep in the plot or whatever, or it could be just some light-hearted fun song thing that kind of pops up here and there. And like this song I feel like was definitely more plot related, so it wasn't like just a song to throw in there. But
yeah, it was kind of a more of a emotional thing versus, you know, like making dresses happy fun like there was in what is it, in the Dress for Success. And this one it was much more like I'm at kind of forget the term for like not the climax, but at like the character's like lowest point, you know, and like she's singing this more emotional.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of roller coaster emotions going on there, and there was ups and downs weaved in throughout the entire song. You went through a whole range of emotions as opposed to an expression of one emotion.
That is a really good point, is that I didn't even think of until like now, is that we already kind of went into her song mode when she was at like her peaks of emotion. So like when she was really happy, she was singing, and when she was really sad, she was singing, and it kind of like gives a definition to when she was most emotional in the episode.
Music and emotion.
Yeah.
So I like the story overall in this piece. I thought it was really well written
in this piece.
In this piece,
are we in CAC?
Hey, there you go. That's force of habit.
I know, it's awesome.
Just in general, there was a lot of things that I really like when shows depict gray areas. You know, because I feel like that's a lot more realistic to what people will encounter in the real world. You know. Sometimes we see extremes, bad bullies and whatever that you can directly relate to, but oftentimes you encounter situations like these where it's gray areas, where the person that you're working with isn't necessarily a bad person at heart, but they make mistakes or get carried away, and it causes these conflicts. In a similar way, you know, like sometimes the solutions to problems aren't always like obvious, you know. Sometimes when I look at MLP episodes, it's like, well, the solution is quite obvious beforehand, it's just about the journey of the character realizing it here. Whereas in this episode, the solution to it wasn't really obvious. There was a lot of turmoil even when deciding the solution. She's going to shut down the boutique, and then she brings everything out, and people come in, and that's when she really realizes, you know, what matters, and everything was just kind of working out as they go along. And again, I think that kind of gray area, that not really knowing things, all of that kind of leads me to treat it more as like a realistic situation, and that's something that personally speaks to me and that I really enjoy.
Well, like it humanized it, didn't it? So like it didn't really like lay out the episode as like make the character like Trixie or something, right? Where it's like she's the explicit villain. Instead, they had that little journey, and then it made saying like more human, but more equine, whatever it is. But they went through kind of like how do I put this? In like the beginning of the episode, like when I first started watching it, I felt like they laid out Sassy Shores, was her name? Something.
I actually don't remember.
Is Sassy something or other.
Let's just say Sassy Horse.
Sorry, it's just the Sassy Horse. I felt like they laid her out in a situation where she totally could have been the villain, and like kept like spiraling things downward. So like when she was like interrupting Rarity or like taking the spotlight or like introducing Twilight Sparkle or something. So like I felt like that was going to be the direct like conflict and like scenario and resolution was like fighting this mayor manager, whatever. But instead, like you said, it ended up being much more of a human scenario of just that she was trying too hard to make it succeed.
Yeah, and it's like, or it wasn't really just a. Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, or not make it succeed, but also make the boutique exist in her vision, as in like making the same kind of dress. Where obviously that wasn't what Rary wanted. So.
Yeah. We're used to like these kind of encapsulated episodes where it all revolves around one like plot line, like this is the explicit villain, these are the explicit like protagonists and stuff. And I feel like this episode in particular did a really good job of like portraying just kind of a scenario, like a real life scenario, instead of just like, you know, this particular event happened. Mm-hmm. Like it's, you know, Rarity goes, opens a boutique. It takes like a long time throughout the entire episode. Like it doesn't last just a day or two, which we don't really see that often.
Yeah, and it's weird because, you know, we were having a debate before we recorded this about the definition of the word antagonist, and I think what makes it really difficult is that this character, Sassy Horse, was so like she was set up to be, and there were some instances where she was, but then she didn't end up being, and that's so confusing, right? Because there are some characters like Gilda in the first time that she came up, or Trixie, where it's like they're obviously antagonists. They're there to, you know, they're there to annoy the other characters, and that's what their role is, and it's explained to you, and you agree with the show when it says these characters are
is an
the bad guy. Yeah, and it's like I feel like this show really tugged back and forth a lot in this episode, right? Like, it's like she was in some instances, right? Like at some point she claimed it was her boutique or whatever when she got carried away. That's pretty bad, right? So it's like in some instances that happens, but it was so it was so different than a lot of other ones because she was set up to be this bad character, and then they really turned it around halfway through.
Good and evil is so well defined in My Little Pony, right? And so like it always has been. It's been easy to understand too, like for a younger audience. So it's like that it's always like the villain has been very clearly laid out, you know.
I was thinking back to the episode when Rarity went to Manhattan, and I don't remember what the other pony's name was, but it was Coco Pamel and some other pony, right?
Yeah, that other fashion horse.
Yeah, yeah, and Fashion Horse. I'm going to call her Fashion Horse. Yeah. And Coco Pamel was like the good one on that side, and Fashion Horse was the bad one, right? And at the end, Coco Pamel discovers that she's evil, and she comes to the good side and whatever. I feel like this character was like both of those characters put together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was this bad side that made mistakes and didn't think about the other person, but there was also this good side where it's like, well, at the end of the day, all she's trying to do is be successful, and she's had problems in the past. Like, that was what was so interesting to me, because we've had examples of episodes before that are very similar to this one, except the difference was there was no explicit bad guy at the end. It was again, it comes down to these gray areas that are just, I don't know, that really interests me. I think it was a very mature episode in terms of writing, in terms of what the situation was.
Well, and like even just thinking back through MLP, like they do a fairly good job of doing that, like having characters that could be both evil or good, like Discord, for instance. Like now you have no idea what to think of him because like he's part of their friend group, but he's still chaotic, like still does these fun, crazy things. But at the end of the day, in like those episodes, like you knew very clearly who was like the antagonist or the villain and who the protagonist was. And here it's
well, you have to be careful with that definition, because like an antagonist does not mean they're the villain. It doesn't mean they're the bad guy or trying to be the bad guy. Being an antagonist just means they're creating a conflict. That can be any conflict. So like the antagonist in a story can literally just be like their best friend. It can be like the two main six. So
it
it's
could
just
be
like
themselves too.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I guess I agree with that.
It's rare.
But, yeah.
It's rare. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I think the only thing that when you bring up Discord, Discord and Gilda are both two characters who were antagonists or villains, and then were reformed in some way through other episodes. But the only difference is I feel like there was a clear antagonist episode followed by redemption episode, whereas this one was, again, instead of having two separate things, they were pushed together, and it's like she was introduced as an antagonist, and then she had her reformation in the same episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's how I felt about the episode too, where it was just like in the beginning it was like there was definitely conflict, and like she was going to be like the goal of that conflict, but then it was like she was just trying to help the Carousel Boutique succeed, and like had her vision, which wasn't Rarity's vision. Then she had to recognize that, and then at the end of the episode she like came to that realization of what she loves and how she wants to run her boutique. But then she didn't villainize said conflictual character. She was like you're still a good manager, it's just this is how I want to do things. I almost felt like, even for like a younger audience, because maybe I'm just stupid, I felt like maybe they should have or should have is like a loaded term, but like I felt like there needed some kind of talk or like conversation to be like, hey, like I know that you have this other vision, but like I guess they kind of did at the end, where she's like, I'll live your vision when I do the store. I don't know.
It wasn't as explicit as like they probably could have been, but there was definitely like that kind of conversation that happened in the episode.
Time constraints too. It's tough.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the Cosmere pony and his expressions while Rarity was introducing this lovely line of clothes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad you're talking about that pony, because he was my favorite pony in the entire episode.
He's so good. Yeah,
he was great. I love
how he talked too.
Yeah, it was just great.
His inflections at the end of every sentence. He's quite the character. I wonder who voiced him.
And just the faces too were just great. Like there were some really good ones that I'm surprised. I was going through the subreddit and I didn't see them pick up on it at all, and it was just like, I think he was like one of my favorite parts of the entire episode. Like when he and Rarity said the same thing and pressed their cheeks together. Like it was just, I loved how enthusiastic and like flamboyant and crazy he was.
That was that Rarity's original name too, when she said that for the dress.
Yeah,
it was like Stain in Rain, or Stain in the Rain, something.
Well, I think what happened was she said stain in the rain or something, and then she was explaining why, and he like predicted why, and she like pressed their faces together as they said the explanation.
Yeah. I love when the animators and the storyboard artists like take a character like this and just like stretch the the potential of their facial expressions, I guess. It's just like, it's so good, and it makes it so comic-y and cartoony. Yeah.
There were some other really good ones that we can go through really quick. There was like Goth Pony and Sun, and I think Goth Pony and Bright Pony were the names of them in the credits.
Celestial Lover and like Luna Lover.
Yeah. That was
they
were really good.
Yeah.
Although I feel like we've had Goth Ponies before, haven't we?
Not as explicit.
You're mentioning favorite characters, like that kind of like solemn-ish goth, like, oh my gosh, Dark Moon Pony at the end there. Like, I think she was my favorite. I really enjoyed that. She put a smile on my face, which was like, oh my god, this just speaks to me.
The internet ate her up like crazy.
I'm the opposite. I love Bright Pony.
Yeah,
Bright Pony, best pony.
I think because the show is very bright in general. Just to kind of get the opposite of that, like with Maud or with this Goth Pony, is like, it's kind of funny in a way, and like,
oh, definitely,
it's pretty indicative of the writing depth of the show. I think people might look at that and be like, oh, that's ridiculous, but honestly, like, to have what you'd expect in this show is for everybody to be bright and happy, but it's not. Everybody's a real character, and so you get these dark characters, and sometimes you do get these real people who are crazy and bright and whatever, but it's the wide variety of different character types that you wouldn't get in like past generations of the show or other kids shows.
Yeah.
I'm curious who voiced Goth Pony now too, if it was like same as
voice Goth Pony was Tabitha, wasn't it? I know Bright Pony was Ashley Ball.
Okay.
Ashley Ball voiced one of them. I don't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, we do have to kind of wrap things up, though, because we are running short on time.
Oh my, it's 20 minutes.
I know. But thank you guys for watching this Spoilercast. We will do another one next week, because there's more pony to be had.
Andrew Libman did Goth Pony.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to throw in there, I really like the dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dresses were nice.
Cute.
Jealous of the dresses. Like,
the
every
dresses
single
were
one,
nice.
like, the design was just like, this is sweet stuff. And when they're all wearing them at the end,
they were all
I was all like,
customized.
yeah.
It was great.
Earned, you should be wearing one of those dresses.
Right?
No, I think
yeah.
I would. I'm sure there's lots of girls out there who wish there were kind of those customized dresses. But I think guys' clothes there should be more customized stuff like that.
Right?
That'd be cool.
Dude, I wanna be able to like wear a frilly dress, and
Dude.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
I got totally like
Thanks
all
for making
girly
the
there.
episode weird, Ted.
I got totally like all girly there at the end, where like all the ponies in the boutique are like wearing their dresses. I was like, ooh.
You look so good in your dresses, girls.
So fabulous.
Oh, did we even talk about like huge fat horse at the end?
I mean, do we want to talk about huge horse at the end?
We can do this quick.
No, I was
Go.
That's it. Her cutie mark is her face. What's the heck is her special talent?
I don't
It's
really
her.
have any comments on it other than it was weird.
It was her. You
It's
know,
just like, oh my goodness, like insert ridiculous character here.
Yeah.
it was the fat pony from the weather episode where Rainbow Dash destroyed the weather factory, and her picture was in the locker.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
weird.
It was great. All right. So thank you guys again for watching. Join us next week for Cutie Art Crusaders and another Spoilercast. Whether or not you're on Picardo or on YouTube, we love you.
You can't just take my outro. You
Yes, I
thieving
can.
horse.
Correct.
I can because I'm a sassy horse.
No.
It was Sassy Saddles, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
sassy saddles, of course.
So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Don't get your saddles all sassy.